Want a cowboy hat? I guess I'll afford one with all my dirty esports dollars. Semi-final number 2. In the top right-hand side, we start this off with the red Terran. This is INnoVation. Taking on the blue Protoss in the bottom left-hand side of the map, it is PartinG. Game 1 of our best of 3. As we set this up, we get this going. Assimilator drops down, Pylon comes in. A little bit of a build-up here as we get this going in the early stages. And Assimilator dropping down from PartinG as well. So again, just a bit of build-up here early on. No proxies, no crazy shenanigans just yet. Remember, in the Kung Fu Cup, semi-finals means you're already in the prize money, $50 guaranteed. And then, of course, you win this, you go to the finals, you get $100 for second place at least. And if you win the finals, $200 first place. $400 every week. It's a lot of money in the Kung Fu Cup, and that's why it's so popular with the players. That's why pretty much everybody plays in it as well. It is kind of crazy. Do we get these replays? Yes, these replays will go out in a replay pack. I might just zip those up and get them out straight to you guys straight after the stream, because obviously it's our last stream before Katowice. There's nothing else to really add in there. So yeah, I'll probably do a replay pack for you guys straight after the stream before I head off to Epic Land for the weekend. So yeah, check that out. As you see the SCV making it away down to the bottom left-hand side. INnoVation, just knowing he's playing against PartinG, wants at least some early scouted information. Just try and double-check some bits and pieces. As we see our SCV moving along. And the command center dropping down the natural Nexus as well. As the SCV just comes all the way in, just has a little bit of a look to see what's going on. Cybercore will drop down in a moment or two. Factory from INnoVation in the main base. Yeah, as the Reaper just continues its way down to the bottom left-hand side. So bringing this all the way down. Obviously going to hop up and PartinG early on. Trying to hide that Stargate behind the natural. It is a bit of an unorthodox position. It might make INnoVation think perhaps some proxy potential. He doesn't stick around very long with the Reaper anyways. He will come towards the natural. Oh my god, is he gonna... I was gonna say, if he goes behind, that's crazy. Because it's kind of just giving up your Reaper if you go behind the mineral line in the natural. He's gonna go in the main, which is also like giving up the Reaper. But of course, you're expecting to see info. And you're not seeing a pylon, so you're kind of expecting a proxy at this point, right? Unless there's a pylon over here. And it is one of the maps you can hide stuff behind the natural mineral line on. Oftentimes that doesn't happen. It's a very exposed position. So a drop here shuts the Stargate and the pylon down. Now, the Stargate being shut down from a drop or so is not exactly the craziest thing in the world. It's not like you're losing, you know, robo facility or something that you really use throughout your mid-game production, etc. As you just have the Widow Mine. It's on the way out here, so getting that up and ready to go, and just continue to set this up as the hallucinated Oracle of PartinG makes its way out to the top right-hand side of the map. So coming across all the way to the top in towards the main base, as the few Marines are going to be able to try get that hallucination. Doesn't quite get it just yet, but will be going down soon. How do subscribers get replay packs? They are available on the Discord server. !Discord, and in the introduction section on Discord, it explains exactly where they are. You do have to link your Twitch and Discord accounts to get the sub roll. But they are in the Discord server, so you can also get access to the recent replay packs as well. So, yeah, they're all available over in there. So, Widow Mine of INnoVation setting up on the bottom side. A couple of Widow Mines coming through the center. And we're just going to be seeing the Medevac boosting down to the bottom left. So, making his way down to the bottom side. Phoenix going in after the Widow Miner 2. And actually is going to get one of the Phoenix hit, but of course, the issue with that is that you don't actually kill the Phoenix. So the Widow Mines, all three of them go down. It's a really good defense, which is exactly what the Phoenix are designed to do. Like, Phoenix are so good defensively, they will clean up pretty much anything that comes across the map in one medevac. There's just not much you can do about it. Now, of course, it does give up the chance to get oracles on the map early. It gives up the chance to do some other bits and pieces, and it's a lot of gas investment, because you're making more than just, like, instead of 1 or 2 Phoenix, you're building, no, 1 or 2 oracles, you're building like 4 or 5 Phoenix. So a lot of gas investment, which means that then the rest of your tech is a bit delayed. Now, PartinG doesn't mind too much. He thinks the Phoenix can keep him safe enough to offset that. As the Robo Bay comes down, the Twilight Council starts, and that will be Colossi and Charge. The next couple of setups for the mid game here. It's going to be seeing the Cyclone going down now as well. As a couple extra Marines dropping. He does lose one of the Phoenix though. Still pretty painful, right? A lot lost from INnoVation. That kills a Phoenix. His third CC at the very least is ready to go pretty early. He's going to land and start mining about the same time PartinG's third base lands, depending on if he wants to move out right away, if he feels safe enough to do that. But did you see a couple of workers continuing to drop, and the Robo Bay about to finish up here from PartinG in the main base as these Phoenix, again, they come out the front. Combat shields coming through the stim pack as well. Missile turrets building in the mineral lines. And I'm just going to be seeing the Phoenix able to come on in. And they're going to be able to tag up that orbital and shut that down. Again, just that blink coming up here from PartinG then. So getting that ready to go as we do have our stim pack coming into play. Our combat shields, our 1-1 upgrades. Again, a couple extra Widow Mines just building up as we do see our third CC. Building up a couple extra SCVs. Widow Mines going down. There's a few more Marines back up the top, and already a Phoenix taking just a little bit of extra damage now. Again, 1-1 upgrades, stim pack, combat shields, all coming through. Do you see 2 more shield batteries on the way from PartinG? As PartinG pulls back around into the center. Again, extra shield batteries, all these gateways, now the extended thermal lance starting up as well. That blink is about halfway along from the Twilight Council as well, so just continuing to build this up right now. As our 1-1 upgrades coming into play from INnoVation. And the armory dropping down in the back of the natural. The rest of these Marines still moving around. There's a little bit of an intercept, and those Phoenix will not do so hot just yet. I mean, pretty good defense continuing on from INnoVation. After the early Phoenix shenanigans, he's been pretty good at now deflecting these and stopping them from doing too much else. But the next stage from PartinG, right? The Colossi coming up. He's getting into those upgrades, the +1 attack, the blink. He actually does go blink rather than charge, which I find a bit surprising just because he's got Phoenix, which kind of cover the Colossi. Usually you go blink for mobility and defense against drops, etc., and also maybe help against Vikings, but when you have the Phoenix, even just 5 of them, you can generally go charge first, and that just powers up your army in general. He might just feel charge isn't worthwhile when he's going to go +1 attack and focus on the, attack upgrades, etc. In that case, Stalkers generally are the better unit. So it may just be the way he wants to synergize his +1 attack or so. As the Raven came in, a couple auto turrets didn't really do too much either. INnoVation stims out to get a probe that looks like he wants to take a 4th base, but INnoVation is working on 2 Widow Mines and a group of Marines. You know, this is not something which is going to be able to fight this army of PartinG. It's not something that will be able to fight this at all, as we see an extra command center from INnoVation dropping down. 5 racks in the main, going to be seeing a second starport coming up as well. And again, just the bio coming out. Zealot's going to get picked off. And just going to be seeing more of these units heading down to the bottom of the map now as 2 Widow Mines are going to want to try and connect here, but good blink away. PartinG will end up taking the high ground base for his 4th then. INnoVation's already very well positioned to come in and try and just get an instant cancel on this. I mean, it's low HP, right? So that is a cancel, no doubt about it. Probably a pylon kill too. He does not stick around too long. He sees with the scan this army coming in. He doesn't want to go overboard. Doesn't want to overcommit. He even stims again because he probably knows the chase potential is there from PartinG. Knows those Stalkers can chase him down very easily, so just wants to get a step ahead of that, if possible at all. Another blink from PartinG. Doesn't do too much. A few more Phoenix on the left-hand side. The Medivacs try and boost away over here, unloading a little bit, so a few of these dropping down as now the Stalkers hanging around on the watchtower. Colossi coming over with these Stalkers as well. All this bio all the way over to the left. As you see our Zealots of PartinG continuing into the center of the map. Still some extra SCVs coming out and over here. Going to be dropping down a command center in a moment or so. Or wanting to, but then turning it back away. As the extra Marines show up, Phoenix taking some damage. Stalkers still blinking in after the rest of this army. It gets chased away, this bio army, back up to the top of the map, so being chased all the way away is another Stalker coming around. And 3-3 upgrades coming through. A couple extra Vikings on the way up. +2 ship weapons. INnoVation. Honestly, after the Phoenix did a lot early game and put INnoVation in a bit of a weird spot, INnoVation's done a very good job of following up since then and has put himself into some much better positions now. And it's just going to be seeing the rest of our medevacs are way down the bottom of the map now. So, again, building up a little bit. And just seeing, again, Viking Bio. No factory units at all here as the War Prism gets sniped down. So, it's a nice takeaway. Obviously, shuts down some of the potential building of reinforcements, etc. As now we have the drop on the bottom. So, looking to hit this 4th base again. And there is nothing in position here from PartinG. He does have a recall available. And that's going to be his single saving grace of this, as the cannons and shield batteries should buy enough time for the real call to go off, unless PartinG's just going to commit for this with no War Prism for reinforcements. These Vikings pulling very far back. I mean, INnoVation's got a Planetary Fortress to fight with as well. The Bio not taking any damage from the Colossi because they're fighting the Planetary. Now, the Vikings are busy fighting the Phoenix as well. INnoVation, I mean, he's cleaned out that bottom side. He's got a supply lead, but obviously armies are in kind of the wrong places. Both players end up losing their 4th base. And INnoVation just needs to shoot down these Colossi, and life becomes so much easier. And he gets one. The second one will go down easily as well now. SCVs are going to get pulled in just to help tank a little bit, especially now the Colossi are dead, though. I feel like this Bio should do a lot better. A Liberator showing up too. The Vikings can lance. The Stalkers get shredded. And now Bio running across the map. They're going to force the recall. So, immediately you just lift up into the medevacs and boost it away. An attempt to blink is not good. And PartinG's recall will just not do enough. Doesn't really clean up anything here. As INnoVation, well, some of these medevacs still being chased. He will begin to unload just to fight. If the Stalkers have already blinked, then, you know, they're going to take a lot of damage. He will play a bit more cleanup. So PartinG getting something on the tail end of this. But INnoVation, I feel, knows his advantage right now. And pushing across the map. A lot of this as well was upgrade advantage for INnoVation. Focusing on double upgrades earlier in the game. PartinG really kind of lackluster on the upgrades. Only just about to finish +2 armor when 3-3 is about to be done from Inno. So this next push from INnoVation might just be somewhat unholdable for PartinG. And here we go. Our 2 Liberators sieging up this ramp. A couple more getting ready to go as well. The Bio pressing forwards. A couple Archons going to be chased as High Temp. They're trying to press forwards. A couple of the Storms dropping down. We're just going to be seeing again our Liberators continue to set up. Big storm once more on the Bio forces here. As the next 2 Archons coming in as well. Still the rest of this Bio coming in. Going to be seeing these Zealots charging forwards. The Archons pressing through. And just going to be seeing the Liberators just continue to fire away at the Archons. Disruptor wants to maybe fire as well. And it will not connect. I mean, only one Disruptor, right? So that's the thing. When you have multiple Disruptors, it becomes very scary because they just keep firing. You keep getting pushed back. One Disruptor and, you deal with that and then you kind of go from there. It's a nice couple of Storms, though. Flanking High Templar, doing a decent job. And just no medevacs here to really buffer this up. And we're kind of relying very heavily so on Liberators from INnoVation. The next Disruptor shot will connect on a few Marauders as well. He will now chase and get rid of this Disruptor. So that's taken down. He's going to find a bunch of Stalkers here, which, well, without the upgrades, are going to do nothing to this Bioforce. Another Disruptor shot comes in. The Liberator's picking off units. They run on through, and there's just not really enough. At the same time, there is some Zealots in the main base of INnoVation, so something he has to, at some stage, start responding to here. But realistically, not just yet. As we're going to be seeing +2 attack on that Forge still coming up. And the Bioforce is still kind of, again, pressing forwards here for INnoVation. And doing a good job of cleaning up a lot of this so far. Some Stalkers from PartinG up this right-hand side. Going to blink in. A couple of Liberators going down already. Zealot gets picked off. A second Zealot as well. So again, a big push forwards right now from INnoVation. As we see PartinG trying to come through. On the bottom of 4th base. PartinG is at least mining from. But INnoVation's got a 4th back up and running as well. And again, just in terms of supplies, I mean, all the advantages are there for INnoVation. And he isn't really reinforcing too quickly. Obviously, he had a lot of reinforcements held back by the Warp Prism play. So that's kind of saving PartinG a little bit right now. But even then, PartinG's army is literally 3 Stalkers, 6 Zealots, and an Archon. Now, if you had Templar warp in to morph into some extra Archons here, and maybe you could argue INnoVation could do with some Ghosts. But at the same time, the Liberator count is high enough, I think, just to nullify the effectiveness of the Archons here. And there's a bit of Bio moves in towards the Nexus. You're going to see this fight committed too. And these Liberators are just, they're almost like 2-shotting Archons, basically, which is just ridiculous, right? You lose an Archon after Archon here, and INnoVation keeps pushing across and looks as though he's going to be able to clean this all up. There's a couple High Templars from the right-hand side trying to see what they can get up to. A couple of Storms dropping down, but there's the GG from PartinG, and INnoVation takes game 1 of this best of 3. as long as he's stopping PartinG building up a larger force again, INnoVation's happy. So, while yes, PartinG's doing a good job to stay alive at the end of that game, INnoVation, typically would be much better off just building up a large army than going again. But he just doesn't want to give PartinG any chance to get back in when he feels like he can keep on trading. So yeah, it was one of those games that was kind of like, yeah, good effort by PartinG, but you're really like, you're just hoping for a Terran mistake, and there is no mistake made by INnoVation in those last couple moments. As in the top left-hand side, we do have our red Terran player up 1-0, INnoVation. Up against the blue Protoss in the bottom right, we do have PartinG. As we kick this off, get this going in the next couple of moments. So PartinG for game number 2 here. As we set this rolling, get this underway. Simulacrum as our map. As we get this ready to rumble. So yeah, game 2 of our best of 3 Simulacrum. And as we do have Gateway Barracks dropping down. A map where realistically you can see a bit of anything really, right? It's, you can see a bit of this, a bit of that. There's no one thing in particular I think here which is like, oh my god, like this is really good or this is really bad. As we set ourselves up into this second map, so let's see what happens. Let's see what the players go for. PartinG, again, definitely one of those players who likes being a bit more aggressive, and early game aggression on Simulacrum can be okay because there's no ramp up into the natural, etc., so you can be pokey and proddy with Stalkers and Adept. Yeah, we're just going to be seeing the... Obviously, once you get up to 3 bases, it's very easily defended because of all the ramps, so something like a 3-base timing is a bit more difficult to pull off here when you're trying to be all into like 3 bases or so. As this time PartinG builds a Stargate again, but this time just up in towards the main. Reaper comes in and just going to be seeing our probe taking a little bit of damage there in the early stages, so not a lot, as INnoVation will pull back around and again just keep looking for information. Now the Stalker on the way out with the Adept to help defend. And watching that Stargate come up here in a moment or two, so when that finishes, you've got a choice as to what could come up next. As we do see our Adept coming in, Reaper taking a little bit of damage already. Oracle starting Corona Boost out. We're going to be seeing that Starport dropping down in the main base, and the Widow Mine already building up in the main as well. A couple of extra Marines just continuing to build, as we do have the Reaper from INnoVation coming back around this bottom side of the map. So Reaper hanging around on the bottom. We do see the couple extra Marines still coming out. The Starport about to complete here from INnoVation as well. Just going to be seeing this Widow Mine hanging out in the main base. We do have our Reaper into the main, and there goes a probe. And the Oracle will help to clean that up. So Oracle and Stalker combined with the kill there in the end. I was just going to be seeing that extra gates dropping in at the front here. Viking building up from INnoVation. Widow Mines trying to burrow up here and there. Back at home, just setting themselves to defend against the Oracle. So defensive setup. I mean, the difference is this time you see the Stargate early, and if you see the Stargate, it's better to play defensively and go into the Viking instead of the Medivac. Make sure these Oracles really do nothing at all. As he comes in, drops a Revelation. It is just one Oracle into very fast tech. One Oracle and a Phoenix into very fast tech. Twilight and the Forge already on the way up here from PartinG. It doesn't take a second gas on the natural either, so only 3 gases for the moment. We'll see if he wants to stick to that as he takes a faster third base and maybe really just builds up into a lot of gate units in the early stages. Extra rack starting from INnoVation as he'll make the swap around happen to start up Stim, etc. Get the rest of the racks down. Build up into that mid-game setup here for this TVP. So PartinG takes the third base. He will just go Blinken +1 to start. And yeah, really eyes on this 4th gas, because if that doesn't get taken, it really gives us the idea that this is going to be that continued aggression, basically. So that's kind of what we're looking out for right now. As you see the Stalker warping in, Adept moving out into the center, the Oracle hanging around up here as well. A couple more refineries, a couple more racks coming through. just going to be seeing this command center from INnoVation going to be finishing up in a few moments' time. So waiting for that CC to finish and complete. As a revelation drops down on the couple of these racks. So again, some revelations dropping in. Stim pack about halfway along. Just seeing our stalkers coming around this right-hand side, keeping their eyes on what they might be able to get up to, as we have an Oracle to provide high ground vision if they want to make a blink up and attempt to snipe down a Stimmer. So he has the revelation, so he sees where the setup is. He knows what this looks like. So PartinG can kind of, make his attack or build his attack around the setup here, basically, right? You can build this around what this already looks like. You don't have to kind of improvise on the fly. I like these two Widow Mines up here. They're in a good spot to stop a blink up. He's going to blink up for the Cyclone. What might happen is he's going to walk into the Widow Mines as he goes this way, but blinks back on cooldown, so he can blink away. And yeah, the Widow Mines, if they're just a bit closer forwards, it's a nice idea. It's just not good enough as now the revelation drops. And for the moment, PartinG will stop INnoVation taking a third base. So that's already a big positive in this. As now he blinks up and gets a couple of Widow Mines, and, well, Viking goes down as well. But now there's Stim, so it becomes a little bit more dangerous as you wait for Blink to come back off cooldown. Blinks back away, and INnoVation, for the moment, continuing to defend, but not having the funnest of times. As PartinG, again, only 3 gases, so is just going to go masses of gateway units. Doesn't look as though he's intending to even that on an Immortal or anything just yet, which we sometimes do see. Really is just Zealots and Stalkers and continue to build into that very heavy gateway style. Again, 1-1 upgrades then about to complete, and that will give INnoVation a bit of an advantage, an upgraded lead in this, and especially against Zealots when he has +1 attack against no armor upgrade. That goes a long way to helping out. Now, if I'm not mistaken, okay, the armory is done, so you can go straight into the 2-2. Oh, this is a bad blink. Units were in position for INnoVation. He's actually already starting to push across the map here. Again, he might be able to hit before +1 armor. And if he does that, it is very scary for PartinG, because it's that stage of the game where these Zealots are just that much more vulnerable. And Zealots are designed to be good around having at least equal upgrades, or at least that armor upgrade. They're meant to be tanky. And this is quite Zealot heavy. Not having armor upgrade really kind of hurts if you're just working on the attack upgrade. Good force fields though from PartinG. Really good force fields from PartinG. And INnoVation just did not have the rest of his army here to begin with at all. And now PartinG's just going to keep on chasing forward. Stalker's blinking in, looking for the medivacs. I mean, the bio will kite. But how long can this bio kite for? Again, the armor upgrade missing is hurting, but INnoVation just really bad start to this. And suddenly PartinG is going to leap on the opportunity, and he's going to keep chasing. And realistically, he's got the prism, right? It's somewhere. It's in the main base. Took a missile turret shot on the way in. But now Zealots in the main, the rest of this army at the front. And I don't really think there is a way that INnoVation is going to hold this off, because it's a lot of aggression going down right now as these SCVs being swiped to death. Yeah, this is looking pretty brutal as it's a lot of workers lost. We've got the army at the front here still from PartinG as well, looking to fight into INnoVation's army. It's real tough. It's real tough. As we do just have the War Prism at least held into the corner now, but behind all of this PartinG, now he's taking extra gases. Now he techs up into Storm, +2 armor, gets a second Forge even. Now PartinG starts to look as though he's going to be able to keep on fighting this going into the even later stages of the game. Looks pretty good for him, huh? As we do see our Zealots and Stalkers, sentries as well, pulling back down to the bottom right-hand side. A few more High Templar just hanging out on the bottom as well. +1 ship weapons about halfway done from INnoVation. As the +2 armor still coming in. INnoVation's just down so many workers that recovery is difficult. What can INnoVation do to win? Maybe do something with 2-2, which is finishing now. So right now in the game, INnoVation has an upgrade lead, which means that some of the smaller fights are going to be even more favored towards them than usual. I kind of feel like maybe if you kill some of these High Templar here, that's great. The Storms didn't exactly do loads. I feel like this is a bit of an anti-timing for PartinG, pushing into a choked up area with an upgrade deficit, with drops heading into the main base as well, so he's going to have to deal with that. High Templars dropping out of the War Prism, though, is going to make it very difficult for INnoVation to keep holding on over here. For the moment, it's kind of happening, but it's costing him obviously a lot of SCVs. The drop in the main that's then going to start doing a lot. So you need to do some target firing, though. I think you need to shut down pylons and shut down reinforcements. Because if PartinG keeps building, you're in trouble. But if you can stop PartinG from building reinforcements, this drop will never slow down. 2-2 is completely unpowered. PartinG is at some point going to have to recall here to deal with this. Couple of zealots going down. There's the recall attempt. INnoVation makes his way out towards the 3rd base or the 4th base. That's kind of the issue as well, right? INnoVation's down at 2 base and PartinG still has 4. The decisions INnoVation is making are kind of right. It's just he's a bit too far behind for it to be enough. And PartinG floating a lot of money because he can't warp in off these gateways. 2-2 delayed. INnoVation basically has, again, one larger push, but I just think the Storms, the Archons, the splash damage from that is just doing a bit too much for the upgrade advantage from INnoVation to really make the difference in all of this. These two Medivacs come boosting along, seen by the Warp Prism, so PartinG knows about it again. However, I guess there's no recall this time, right? It's on cooldown, so that's one benefit as INnoVation continues to play off of just 2 bases. PartinG blinks in already, looking to take this fight, however, and again, INnoVation's numbers just are not there to make this work. Has to run out through a storm. There's the reinforcements already coming in the main. I mean, I feel like this warping just doesn't do a lot, right? Just because, again, upgrades. So coming back through, going to be seeing INnoVation still trying to do something in that main base, but there's just nothing being done about this army of PartinG and his natural expansion. So you can't stop this, and if you can't stop this, it's just too much of an issue. Again, trying to empower gateways to stop enough warpings to make this somewhat base tradable, but yeah, I mean, PartinG kills off the natural. He doesn't even have to keep base trading. He can just come back home. As he's already trying to bring some units up here to try and fight this. He's just got the +2 armor as well, so now these zealots are that little bit tankier also, which will also help. So obviously just little bits and pieces finishing up, giving PartinG what he needs. And this series is going to a game 3. It's been a pretty good one so far, as we are going to be seeing. The rest of these Stalkers blinking up. Marauders continue to be fired upon, and yeah, I mean, the Marauders will fight till the very end. INnoVation does not want to give it up. This PartinG plays with some Prism Micro as well, just to get fancy. And INnoVation trying to stim in towards the front base as well. But he's literally playing off of 1 base right now, as Inno does not want to get out of this. In the end, he types GG, and PartinG takes game 2. Let's jump into game number 3. In the bottom left-hand side, our Red Terran player, INnoVation, looking to try and make this a TVZ finals against Rogue. On the top right-hand side, our Blue Protoss player, PartinG, trying to make this a PVZ finals against Rogue. Honestly, both would be great matches. Recently, INnoVation Rogue games have been pretty fun. Bio versus Lingbane Muta. PartinG versus Rogue, we saw in IEM qualifiers, etc. And some cannon rushes, some longer games. Definitely some possibilities of some fun, crazy stuff going on in that. As you do have the probe coming back around the center, checking for proxy racks. So PartinG actually a little bit scared that INnoVation is going to try and switch up the aggression going into this game. So kind of funny the day that PartinG is the player afraid of proxies, etc. And shows it with the early scouting positions. As you do just have the probe and the SCV coming in for a nibble. SCV wants to build a command center. Probe's not one to let him, so a second SCV has to come down to help push this away. Problem is, if you start building a CC and the probe is still here, you also have the probe then fighting the SCV, and you get close to losing that very early on as well. As we'll see, the probe of PartinG pulling back up to the top right-hand side. He's going to set up a pylon over here, so getting that pylon up and running. Going to be seeing the Reaper from INnoVation will continue across to the upper right, so moving around, trying to get it to the top. See what's going to happen. As this Reaper scouts around into the natural expansion, Adept comes across. Reaper going to get pushed around a little bit, and we'll see again, just looking for the early info, which is going to be a Stargate early in the game. So this time it is proxied once more, down on the bottom of the map. I say proxy once more. It is actually proxied this time, because in the first game it wasn't proxied, it was just hidden. So we'll see if INnoVation can figure that out in the next little while. As we do just see the Stargate again about to finish here then. command center, morphing into an orbital. SCV gonna raise up a depot, block this adept off. Hey, thank you WikiLeaks for the gifted subs. Get some love in the chat for those. We'll shout them out after the game, as we do just have. Then just see what the proxy oracle can do. We have a Widow Mine on the way out, which will, well, be part of a defense. So setting up towards that, this Reaper comes back around the top side. Still a few extra probes building up here. Oh, fire alarm is the hottest match of the day, guys! Wow, 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 wow. Yeah, it turns out the semi-finals. This is the series of the day. Every Thursday in the Kung Fu Cup, we get a series of the day determined by the fire alarm, and that is it. So this is the one, guys. Game 3 gonna be hot. It's gonna be good. Oh, now the hype is really there. As our first Oracle makes its way around in towards the main. Coming across to see what will happen. Couple SCVs going down. Widow Mine's relocating just slightly. I mean, little damage done. You really want to try and avoid damage taken from an Oracle, and this is kind of a lot of damage taken from an Oracle as well, right? 4 kills. It really does add up. As we do just have our Twilight in the Forge on the way from PartinG. So very similar setup to the last game. Another map where you can do a lot of blinking into the main. Try and get damage done, etc. early on, as we do see this Medevac and the Widow Mine, Medevac and the Marines try and chase down an Oracle, but then if Phoenix shows up, I mean, Marines can still unload and push this back, so the Medevac is not in any trouble. And the Phoenix gets a few shots off there before pulling itself away with the Oracle back out over the right. Pulling that away as the Blink comes up. Again, +1 attack on the Forge, Blink on the Twilight Council, and just going to be seeing the Marines, Viking, and a tank pushing across. So INnoVation getting aggressive, has the Viking to help out against the air units here initially, right? The Phoenix and the Oracle, if they try to help the defense. Obviously, a Viking landing against Stalkers can do a lot as well. Going to land the Viking for the moment. Might be more than anything else, just the fact it's a little bit safer on the ground, doesn't get as far in the front of the other units. So it doesn't take any Stalker shots, because the Viking is an important one to keep alive in this. The next Viking, 2 more Marines coming over. INnoVation, SCVs getting ahead of themselves, moving up the ramp, so that's going to lose a lot of the possibility of perhaps trying to get down a bunker or two. Blink not done yet, +1 not done yet, but it looks as though INnoVation doesn't see the opportunity to deal damage. Sees just a lot of Stalkers, right? And when you've got this many units warping in, it's generally not a good idea to keep on committing. But look what he's done. He's already forced a bunch of shield batteries up, etc., so that's good. But don't mind, here gets a Stalker kill as well, as, you know, PartinG tries to trace back down to the bottom left-hand side. As you do see, the Medevac just going to bring a tank in the main, ready for those Stalkers to blink around and be aggressive. And that was an issue in the last game. It gave PartinG an advantage early on. As these Stalkers come all the way out down the bottom side, ready to blink them away into the main base, I'm sure, in the next moment or two. So those are setting up for that. Again, Blink going to be finished in a moment. Charge coming up, +1 attack dropping down on the Forge as well. Robotics facility in the main base, and just going to see our Stalkers ready to hop up into the main here. Oracle drops down a Revelation and will grab a few Marines in this. Again, there's that charge upgrade coming up here on the Twilight Council. So getting that up and running. Getting that charge up and running, as we do see the rest of our Stalkers still coming along. Trying to see where they can go. Coming out over this left-hand side. Not a lot will be done then. I mean, pretty quickly this game, PartinG takes at least the 4th gas, so a little bit of teching up, and then the next gases should not be too far away from following either. You see the Marines coming in, Oracle taking some shots, Stalkers pressing through, tanks to try and help defend, and it took a little while to get rid of the first tank there, so these Stalkers take a lot of damage. It's a scary couple of moments when you run out of the, you don't have the tank, and then it's kind of Marines, the Marauder's not in range. And the Stalkers do a lot, but honestly, I'd say 7 Stalkers lost in the game is not so bad for INnoVation. He is still down in resources lost overall. As PartinG also mining more as well. INnoVation want to take a 3rd base shortly. And PartinG making his way up to that Storm, which did a lot in the last game too. Tied up 1-1. The winner of this goes to the finals. Play against Rogue, looking for our 2nd non-Terran finals in a long time in the Kung Fu Cup if PartinG can win this. Rogue back-to-back finals at the moment. Stalk's coming out into the center, and it looks as though they're going to give up the pressure for a moment. Allows INnoVation to get out to his third base. Now, PartinG will just keep on expanding. Already going up to base number 4 here. Already getting that up and ready to go. Forge about to finish up the +1 armor upgrade. Robo finishing up this Observer in a moment. Templar Archives about to be finishing. And there is a revelation from the Oracle onto the Marines. Which, well, when I say on the Marines, sorry, these are SCVs that are coming across the maps. The SCV pull from INnoVation. We're going to try and win this here and now. High Templars dropped and got out of there before the storms landed and before the tanks fired. This is actually kind of dangerous for PartinG because the tanks will do a lot, and it's that similar-ish time into before where PartinG... He's got the +1 armor, I guess, actually, so it's not as similar as before. Which way is INnoVation going to go? Is he going to set up from this low ground? It looks like he will, and try and go up to the high ground from there. First storms dropping down. They do okay. I wouldn't say they're like the craziest storms we've ever seen, though. As INnoVation will just slow push his way forwards with these siege tanks, putting everything on the line with this attack. There's no sign of 2-2 upgrades or anything along those lines. Another storm and a few Marauders in the front. INnoVation really just eats that one. Rest of the High Templar getting ready to storm again, getting ready to drop out of the War Prism here. And the next couple storms are much better. But man, those tanks are doing a lot of damage, and especially now if they start firing on the Stalkers, they're going to do a lot. The High Templar still in the Prism. Not exactly looking great because they've already used their storms as well. So the thing is, as time passes by, Zealots especially will start getting better numbers perhaps, and that will be more of an issue for these tanks. And the tank count's not what it once was already. There's a couple storms, so that's the last 2 storms that were in this game. As the last tank is about to go down as well, these Stalkers taking some damage, but INnoVation does not have enough, and PartinG is going to push on through, defending this attack to take Game 3 of this best of 3 and sending himself through to today's Grand Finals, I think, because INnoVation now has run out of steam. He doesn't have much left over anymore. Siege tank will set up, and looks like we'll have a push into this in a moment or two as the Zealots go charging forward. The Storm hits a bunch of these Zealots, but in the end, it doesn't really matter, as the Immortal here as well helps a lot against what is a heavy Marauder count at the end, and INnoVation will type GG to give PartinG victory and to go through to the Grand Finals.